Is atheism the most rational position in the universe, or is it possible, despite the fact that an organization claimed the rational moniker for themselves, that atheism is absolutely irrational? Road Trip to Truth. It is now available. Please consider getting this for your youth group, or frankly, for your not youth group. Adults need to see this too, to be equipped to defend their Christian worldview as the only rational worldview. This is host John Fabarez.
For all of history, it seems the winner of any intellectual battle is the one that presented the most rational position for their stated view. If there's one group that's cornered the market on the use of the word rational, it's atheists. Countless websites, YouTube channels, and blogs promoting the tenets of atheism are branded with some form of the word rational. Vanguards of the new atheism movement, like Richard Dawkins and Sam Harris, are the quickest to pull out that R word, stating atheism is the most rational view in the world. They claim that based on their ability to interpret reality, atheism makes the most sense. But really, is that the case? Is atheism really rational? Dr. Jason Lisle has a PhD in astrophysics from the University of Colorado. He's written numerous books explaining the rationality of Christianity and the consequences of atheism. Atheism as an idea or as a philosophy. What is atheism?
Really, atheism is the belief in no God. Atheism, no God. And so it's the position that God doesn't exist. And then there are logical consequences of that. Some people try to say, well, it's not a belief system. It's just, I don't have a belief system.
A lack of a belief system.
Yeah, a lack of a belief system. I said, well, if you're going to play that game, then I'm an atheist. I'm just not convinced of atheism, right? Sure. I've just not been persuaded of your belief system. I deny your belief system. No, the fact is both theism, Christian theism, and atheism are both positive belief systems. They both take a position on whether or not God exists, and that has consequences for how the universe would be expected to behave.
For you personally, what kind of purpose do you have in your life?
That's a hard one.
I don't know, to actually say there's a purpose for things, it's kind of difficult.
You know, we're just specks of dust on a speck of dust, amongst other specks of dust.
Purpose. I think our generation seeks purpose and they want to have meaning. Can atheism provide any purpose for a person?
A person can decide irrationally. They can say, well, you know what, my purpose in life, I'm going to make my purpose in life to build the largest ball of peanut butter that has ever been accomplished, and they can just decide that. But there's no objectivity there, right? It's just something they've arbitrarily picked. By definition, if you're an accident, there's no purpose. That's what it means to be an accident. On the other hand, if we're made in the image of God, then we do have a purpose. And the fact is, because we know in our heart of hearts that God exists, we do have a sense of purpose built into us. Human beings do. That comes out even in atheists. I think of Richard Dawkins, who, he's an atheist and he goes around teaching how everybody should be atheists. I think that's irrational. I mean, here's a man who is convinced that it's his purpose in life to convince people that there's no purpose in life, right? I mean, because if he was really an atheist and he thinks everything's just an accident, why would he care? But the fact that he thinks he has a purpose, and he does have a purpose, the reason that he thinks that is because he does know in his heart of hearts the biblical God. He knows that he has an objective purpose on this planet. And my point is, any purpose that you invent for yourself will ultimately be arbitrary and meaningless because there's no objectivity to it. I'm going to wear cheese on my head. That's my purpose in life. Well, you can do that, but it's arbitrary. It's meaningless. It doesn't have any objective value.
My friends who are atheists, and I'm sure yours too, most of them are materialists. They
Yes.
believe in materialism. How could you explain that?
So materialism is the belief that everything that exists is made of atoms or energy. So everything that exists has a position in space. It's material. And that's a self-refuting position because anyone who would try to argue for that would have to use laws of logic in order to make the argument. Okay. But the problem is laws of logic are not made up of atoms. You can't point your telescope somewhere and see a law of logic or accidentally stub your toe on a law of logic. They're non-material. And so the materialist has to use something that cannot exist in his worldview in order to prove his worldview. It's an inherently irrational position. And a lot of atheists haven't thought that through, but it really is a devastating refutation of their position.
Unfortunately, not a lot of Christian youth have thought that through, but they will if you present Road Trip to Truth. How old should a kid be to participate in this wonderful 13-lesson study? Junior high. It's not too soon, I promise you. They can get this stuff. They've already been presented with this stuff. They've already felt the shame of not being on the side of rationalism. Is it any wonder so many kids are hopeless that they are told there really is no purpose? You can put a ball of cheese on your head and that's your purpose, and you go, well, that's really it? I would be bummed out too. Please consider presenting this teaching to your youth. They will participate perhaps like never before, because most likely they have never been presented with the Christian side of what is the most rational worldview. Well, thank you, Carol. I can't wait to try some of that low-sodium peppermint lasagna. Sounds delicious. Let's get to the weather, shall we? As you can see, we are going to have a massive warm front moving its way up the eastern seaboard, expecting temperatures upper 90s and low 100s. Unless, of course, you're outside of Christ. Then on Judgment Day, it is going to be hot. Back to you, Carol. Not only hot, weeping, gnashing of teeth. And so thirsty, your tongue's going to be stuck to the roof of your mouth. You're just going to wish for a storm to come through, which you folks down in the south can be expecting on Wednesday.